Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another show. My name is Tyler, and I'm here with Matt, the founder of ORATS. ORATS is an options analytics platform built on top of over 15 years of historical options data. Our dashboard is integrated with Tradier, meaning you can research and discover trades on our platform and then seamlessly send them through to your Tradier brokerage account. Today on the show, we're going to be showing you our entire workflow from start to finish. We're going to show you how to scan for a trade, analyze the risk, and monitor it in paper trading, among a few other tips and tricks for you in the dashboard. Matt, do you want to share a screen and get us started?
Absolutely, yeah. So, it's a great workflow. Um, it's what you want to do. I mean, you want to be testing your workflow. You want to be automating your workflow to see how it forward tests. And paper trading, we have all that. So, the easiest way to get going is it comes up the very first thing in research. It shows you curated strategies. You could save other backtests here, and then you just hit the arrow, and it will send a trade off. So, that's the quickest way to get going in our product here. So this looks like a decent backtest. I would probably do more before sending it off, but just to show you how it goes, you just send this off. And then in my go to risk, and in your positions, I have a paper trading that's a manual account and a paper trading that's an auto trading account. And you could see that I have many different trades here that are being managed and that are entering and exiting. So it's quite a neat workflow. So there's that fill here, the short put spread filled. So now it added ABGO, and then I could manage my risk profile. And I could see if I'm long or short. So it helps me set up things. So the blue line is the profit line, and so it looks like I'm very long. So 119 long here. So anyway. I probably want to get some short ones on.
Yeah, so that's starting from the backtest, right? In the Save Backtest tab. Can you show us a little bit how a user would, scan for something?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the easy way, just right there. I wanted to show that.
Yeah.
But that's the easy workflow, but the more intensive, and a lot of people have specific requirements, and that could be handled through, as Tyler says, through the stock scanner, and then you could set up the type of trades that you're looking for. Since earnings are coming up, I've set up. I'm starting to set up an earnings scan. Is this what you're looking for, Tyler?
Yeah. Okay, I like
cool. So if you go to earnings, for example, weeks until earnings. So one of the things that you can do, I'll just take out both of these things. If you don't have any weeks until earnings, it's just going to pick up all sorts of stocks and ETFs. So what you want to do is, and if you want 1 week or 2 weeks, so there's a bunch of earnings coming up in the next 2 weeks, but there's a lot of zeros. There's even a negative for kind of like these delisted companies. So what you want to do is kind of a trick is, instead of putting 0, which will still keep a lot of the ETFs and indexes in there, you want to put like a small value, like 0.1, and then it gets rid of all those. So that's just a little tip. So now you can see that American Airlines, Intel, that's all 1 week away. So this is the big earnings time. So, we could pick how many weeks until earnings. Now, the earnings date specifically we show here, but if you want to purchase that, it's a separate subscription. It's a lot more expensive because our partner, Wall Street Horizon, really works on that to get it right. And it's a coveted piece of subscription that we have. So we have to keep that kind of behind a paywall. So now we have some stocks that we're starting to filter down. So now we want to do things like, I always set like, I want, if I'm going to be doing some type of like a double calendar or some complex trade, I want to, filter these down. So I'll look at just the stock price. Like I want it like at least maybe $50, but I don't want, like, you want to compare them, so you don't want anything like over 500. So that, now gets the stock price kind of in a range that you could start working with. I like to see like implied volatility between a certain range too. So like, the X earnings, I'd want it, somewhere between like probably 20 and I don't know, 60 or something like that. So I'm just setting up some broad parameters right now, and then we're going to go in and do some type of a trade. In this case, go ahead, Tyler.
Oh yeah, I think that was a great explanation. I like how you're going through it, very intentionally, kind of one by one. So yeah, that's been great. We've gotten some feedback that we need to appeal to maybe newer users or people less familiar with the lingo of the options trading world. So I think you're going through it well.
Okay, good. So we're still narrowing this down. So you can see where I'm kind of going with it. Like I want some relatively liquid stock, so I would go to then volume, and then I could go to average volume over the last 20 days, so option volume. So I want at least, let's just say over 700 traded. So that's 700 average option volume. So we see, we still see 84 stocks here. So that's getting there. We could still narrow it down a bit too. I like to look at contango. Like, so I want a stock that's in more backwardation, and we've talked about that on other shows. But it's basically the front month is I want it above the back month, and this looks at X earnings. So that's a lot for some people to take in, but even after considering earnings, we want, if I'm going to be doing like a double calendar or a calendar here, so I want to be selling a higher volatility. So I want negative. So I want this to be negative. So I want this to be in the bottom, I don't know, at least 50%. So now we're seeing some stocks now with 43 stocks, and I want it to be sorted on contango, and I want it to be ascending. So now we have some big contango stocks.
Yeah, and if you guys don't understand some of these indicators, what you can do is you can go into the Auto AI tab on the right, and just sort of ask it like, hey, what does contango mean, or can you explain some of the skew indicators in ORATS, things like that. And it knows all of our indicators, and if they're not in the preset indicators, you can look in the custom indicators section and add them there. So
yeah, so I just asked it, hey, how does contango work for earning stocks and calendar spread? So we'll see if we can figure that out. So it's telling you about it, telling why it's important, looking at forward volatility, and there are then it usually links to a webinar that we've done here. So pretty cool. Auto's great resource, helps us out a lot for this. So I think we got it down to 38 stocks. They look pretty good. You want to go for save this and send it to our option scanner, or do you have any other things that you like to look at, Tyler?
Yeah, I think you covered it all. Maybe we can touch on just a little bit step one, which is start with a list of symbols or paste a list. What does that mean? Why is it, is this something that you should be looking at a lot? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, so the first number one is I usually leave it blank, so I don't usually put symbols in here, but there are sometimes when you want to. especially if you're seeing some underscore C symbols coming up. If you filter it for any of these, including all symbols, that will filter out the underscore C symbols. But these are all different sectors that you might want to consider. So these sectors that are here, you might only want to do a semiconductor or a small stock in Russell, or a financial company. But so and that's nice because some of these stocks have some risk, like like the home builders. I think we saw Horton here. So there's some Empoltes here. So like there is a lot of uncertainty there because Trump's talking about taking away the investment company's ability to buy single-family homes. So there's a lot of uncertainty, and people don't know what's going to happen when they announce, earnings. What's the forward guidance going to be? So so that's why it's kind of interesting to look at just like the home builders or something like that. That's how you use it, or you could paste a list. So we have ways that you could use the API console even and download lists of stocks and filter them down manually in Excel or something. We could talk about that on a different show, but like there are ways to get just a list of stocks that you're interested in, and you can paste them in there, or do what I've done and use our it's a great database filtering system. Basically, is what the stock scanner is, and we've got it down to 38 stocks that I think are tradable. Like I said, maybe not the DHIs or whatever, but you can definitely get these filtered down pretty well, Tyler.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for explaining that. So it's basically like filter by sector, sort of.
Yeah, you can. That's what the number one is. And then number two, you've seen me going through these. There's a lot. We've organized them into sections, and you could go and pick out the important data by sections. And then you could even add custom indicators. It's a little bit more complicated. You could do a single or a ratio. You could do implied volatility divided by historical volatility. Like you could do a lot of different ratios or singles. You could compare it to the sector. So there's a lot of interesting things in there. We could almost do a whole show on the custom indicators, and then it just shows you what indicators you have, and of course the results are what we've seen so far. And then if you sort them, then it takes it over to the option scanner in the sort that you put in here.
Yeah, that's a pretty neat feature, right? Because oftentimes you'll see more than you can see hundreds, but the option scanner, I guess we can go there now, only does 25 at a time.
Yeah, so I'm going to save this.
Okay.
And so now remember the name, earnings stocks for calendars. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the reason you want to remember the name is when you go to the option scanner, number one here is adding symbols. So you could either add symbols and paste. You could say if you think you're bullish or bearish on that list. It's really cool. Or you could do what we're doing now is it'll pick the last one that you did, but the earnings stocks for calendar. So it only brings in the top 25, and then it uses the strategy that you have, which is what we're going to work on next.
Yeah, this is really neat. It's a kind of a great way. We've really thought about this workflow a lot. So it's a really great way to seamlessly go from one to the other. Yeah.
So you could add a custom indicator. And, I'm just going to be doing it here. That's a little bit difficult to use, but hopefully we can get it done because sometimes it does take some time to do like a double calendar. Because you have to set, there's a lot of settings here that you have to be, conscious of. So I'm going to try to do it live. So you're buying a call, selling a call. So you're going to be buying a longer term. So we'll set this to, I'm not averse to, buying a longer term. And then, the shorter term could be, 15 days minimum. Now, the target for the front one is probably, 7 days with as little as 3 days and as much as 22 days. So I'll just repeat that for the long put and for the short put. So those are our days, right? So I'm already seeing, information come in. Now let's just see if there's any other types of information that we want to do. So this is like, we could just look at one. So here's a double calendar, and we could look at the payoff picture. What are we seeing here? That first of all, this is a very wide stock. So here we could filter those out. So let's do that first. So I'm going to go over and filter out, wide stock. So, the market width on that's $4. So the most I want to pay is maybe, let's just say 50 cents. So that will, that will, very much narrow it down. But I think the reason that it's not showing anything is we need to set up some other filters here. So the DTE diff. So we definitely want, leg one. So our long minus our short, we want that to be a positive number. So we want that to be, something like at least 7 days. So 1 minus 2. 2 and 3 we don't really care about. So we could just put 90 in, like longer term ones and 7. So we still might not see anything there. So then we want, like these strike widths might be 0 or whatever. So we still want to set strike width. So, on the strike width for a calendar, let's just say -10 and 10. And see what's going on there. Market width. All these are fine. The days are fine.
I noticed the strike deltas are they're the same targets. Is that intentional?
These are pretty wide, so that shouldn't do anything. So let's just see. So again, we might have to pull up my old one because I do sometimes overlook what some of the indicators are here. Spread price, delta price, that should be all good. So you have to say that leg 1 minus leg 2. That's right, leg 2 minus leg 3. Okay. So why don't we do this? Why don't we go in and find one that we've already set up, and then we'll have to figure out what's going on for that. So
yeah, I mean the settings look right. So
yeah. So let's go to my option scan because I already have a double calendar in here. Diagonal. So here's the earnings. And then let's go to this one. Okay, this is a little bit different. Okay, so Tyler, see how I set this up?
Yeah. Yeah, you did it a little bit differently.
Yeah. I should have practiced this, but this is and it's not getting any results for that. Let's go back to my option scans. Of course, I picked the most difficult one to use. So let's see how this looks just on its own.
We should have a pre-canned double diagonal scan in there.
Do we?
No, we don't, but we should.
Okay, yeah. Because I use this from time to time. So this is the double diagonal that I have in there right now. Because what it's doing is it's looking for very specific types of trades here. So now we have a double diagonal. So let's just take a look at it and see if this is something that
you had to change your stock scan up at the top.
It's all right. It wasn't getting any with my other stock scan because this is looking for a specific like kind of volatility like that matches. I'll go back and look at it. But so here's a double because the stock scan that I had in there was was looking for like huge backwardation, And so it's not finding it in this particular scan.
I
So
see.
you have to be careful and match up what your stock scan is looking for versus what you're looking for in this one. As a matter, this is a fairly valued earning, so I'm just kind of looking for staid and true, like well-priced stuff. So
Well, I think that's a good point, actually, lining up your option scan with your stock scan.
yeah,
I think that makes a lot of sense.
yeah. So this is Wells Fargo, and this is a typical a typical looking scan. So the cool thing now, Tyler, is like we could look at this, the scan in the in the new trade analysis risk profile. And another cool thing is that we could adjust some volatilities here. So you could see in the graph here that the volatility of the front month is very high. So if we bring that down, ultimately, and then we bring ours up, that's what we want to happen, right? So that's going to be where the most profit is going to be. So let's just zoom this out. So this is the 2/10 that you get with the double calendar. And so if we're expecting this to happen and moving it out a few days, we could see, well, where are we going to lose? We're going to lose if the stock moves down to 84 from 94. So that's a pretty big move for Wells Fargo. That's like 13%, 12%. So I like that. And if it moves up to 100, that's still about 6%, right? So that still looks pretty good. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is, our earnings research. Let's see, where are we put the earnings research?
I think it's in risk, actually. I think it's where we were.
Okay. So earnings research for Wells Fargo, we could see that the implied move is only 4.1% and the actual move is only 3.5%. So this is looking like a pretty good trade to me. So this is something that I would, put onto my my paper trading account and watch what happens to it. So why don't we go do that? I click the trade, and then the theoretical value is it's worth 48 cents. The mid is pretty wide, so we're going to have to probably pay like over 50 cents, I think, to get filled in that. And if you don't know what I just said right there, our smooth edge is we think that that's kind of what the market makers would value things at. The midpoint doesn't matter as much as the smooth edge, or you kind of want to look at both. So you're going to have to pay a certain amount in order to get filled. So I would force it there, meaning that's the price. Like we have in the paper trading, we have a way that simulates where we're going to get filled based on this information. But in this case, I'm just going to say that this is the place where I want to get filled. By the way, we have copy trade. You could copy it and send it to Thinkorswim. You could send this to TradeStation. You could send it to Interactive Brokers, or of course Tradier. So so review the order. Okay, we're going to pay 53 cents for it. Send it in, and so so that was filled. So that's my paper trading account. Unfortunately, I put in the auto trading account, but that's fine. So then what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll say, well, let me know, because sometimes I forget about these things. Let me know after one day after the earnings day. And then I'll say, and I'll put a note. I'll just say, paper trading, because I have a lot of alerts coming in. The paper trading auto is the account, and then I'll say that we did it on the Trader Hub, the Trader Hub show. The earnings. So this is how I will submit these exit alerts And so it makes it very convenient because it'll text me, it'll send, these alerts here. So you get to see where it is, by mousing over the alerts there. So, so I think, that is another very good workflow, and just to, oh, this is another trade that we're doing. Well, this is interesting. So we just got a few fills in the auto trading that were based on, our back tests here. So these back tests here fired off some trades. So that was pretty cool to see that during the presentation here. But yeah, so, so now our filled orders are here. So we did, of course, what we did earlier, we did Avgo, and then we've done the Wells Fargo trade, and then we just got filled on a long put here, which is nice because we need that, and a short call spread. So now we could look at our overall risk position, our deltas, and be able to see, how are we looking on delta. So we used to be very long, and now we're pretty flat actually now, so which is nice. So all those trades that came in kind of flattened us out, which is nice. You could deselect and select and see where you're trading all in here. So it's a very cool thing. So this is where we've been wanting to get to for a long time, meaning we have great research. That's always a good place to start with back testing and with all the data that we put out there. And then you could take that data and scan for it, filter down the whole database. That's what we did in the stock scanner, and then send it over to the option scanner. You saw us kind of sometimes fumbling around, but in order to make it really customizable, sometimes it does take a little bit of a learning curve, but we finally got the earnings calendar to work the way that we wanted it. And then we were able to paper trade it, execute it. We could have sent it to any of the brokers as well, but we executed it in our paper trading. And then we sent an alert to us to figure out when we're going to get in and when we're going to get out. And one more thing I just want to show is then what you do is you could say, well, how are we doing on these strategies? So you could look by underlying, you could look by strategy, and then in the future we're going to start doing it by trading specific trading strategy that we back tested. So there's going to be quite a great way to really do all the 4 pillars of trading: research, implementation, risk management, and review. But like I said, we've worked hard to get it to a point, and you could really see the whole thing coming together now. And then we'll kind of build out other things, but it's quite a process, and this is what we want to show today, Tyler.
Yeah, the 4 pillars process is really the critical part here, and if a lot of people watching, this might look like a little bit of a new interface, and that's because we're going to be rolling this out over the next month or two, and it's kind of centralized over the 4 pillars, and it's going to have a lot of things that are easier to kind of navigate to, and that just makes sense in the context of your entire trading workflow. We want to promote ORATS as a place for kind of an all-in-one end-to-end trading platform where you can do your research, you can do your scanning, you can look at how your trades have done, you can kick off auto trades, and you can learn the whole way through about everything too. So I think you did a great job demoing that today, Matt. If you guys have any questions, you can ask us at support@orats.com. We'd love to hear your feedback, and even if you guys want to hop on a screen share with us and show us your workflow so that we can learn from you and design the platform to better fit your needs, that would be great as well. We're always open to screen shares. So yeah, do you have anything else to add, Matt?
No, it's great. I mean, great job, designing this and getting it going. So it's just, it's quite a feat.
Yeah, nice job, and great demo today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tradier, for hosting us, and we'll see you guys again next week.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.